I'm sort of going back to my youth here with the music. This is great. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Fred Thompson. I'm with LoyaltyOne Consulting. And I think we've heard a lot of really great case studies here today and a lot of really great anecdotes from consumer companies on how they're using loyalty or how they're using really just big L loyalty in terms of pursuing their goals. So we've heard a lot about rewards and incentives, a lot about social media. Thank you, Donna. We've heard a lot about different elements of the marketing mix in terms of how these consumer-facing companies are really addressing a lot of their corporate needs. And at conferences like this, it's actually a little less common to hear the B2B stories. And I'm actually particularly excited to tell this next story because there really is a pretty solid reason why the B2B stories are a little less common. They are quite tricky, and in fact, when you look at it, a good successful B2B program, the members of the people who are participating in these programs really have kind of a dual nature to themselves. So remember that again, they're focused on a corporate target, that people in these roles have a corporate responsibility, a fiscal responsibility. They're there to represent the company, and so they need to be able to make decisions that are in line with the ethics and in line with the goals of that corporate entity. But these are not just emotionless people out there who are kind of pushing a button. Everyone has their own aspirations, their own motivations, and the things that appeal to them on a personal level. So at Colloquy years ago, we termed this the Gemini Effect, which is people in these roles who have sort of these dual motivations. And the really successful B2B programs are ones that can really take advantage of both of these elements, that really drive the business goals forward of the people in these roles, as well as resonating personally and emotionally with their own needs and desires. And so it's my pleasure to actually introduce Becky Meskel to you, who leads the Intel Flex Plus program. She's the worldwide manager of this program. This is one of those programs that I think really does do a great job at walking this line here. So I'm going to actually save the time so Becky can tell you the Intel story, but thank you very much.
Thank you, Fred, and it's great to be here. And interestingly enough, when I started attending these loyalty events, a lot of times people would say to me, what does Intel have to do with loyalty? In fact, checking into the hotel last night, the hotel personnel said, oh, I see you're here for Loyalty World. What is that about? I explained that. Then he said, well, where you work? And I said, I work at Intel. And he goes, what does Intel have to do with loyalty? So I'm hoping in this discussion I can better show you why we are concerned about it, and more importantly, where we focus in this business-to-business model, as Fred just explained. So I want to explain to you the two challenges we have. The first one is the ingredient brand challenge. Intel is an ingredient brand. We do not create a finished product. And much like these other very popular ingredient brands, the challenge that we faced is being relevant in the consumer space. So back in 1991, Intel did a survey of when the PC market was just switching to the PC market, where people were actually buying computers and putting them in their homes. In the European market, we tested this, and only about 24% of the people at that time knew what Intel was or what the brand was about. So hence we launched this co-marketing program called the Intel Inside program. And some of you might be familiar with the little 5-note jingle, bum, 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 bum. Or hopefully on the computers that you use, you have an asset tag that says Intel Inside or has the Intel processor designation that's inside your computer. Well, what that did for Intel was help establish that as a consumer brand. They went back 4 years later in 1995 and found that our recognition or relevance with that same European buying market went to 91%. So it was a huge leap for us. So that was challenge number one, is remaining relevant as an ingredient brand. This is becoming more and more important. We've heard the discussion about all the different devices people use and how they can consume information, whether it's on your cell phone, tablets, hopefully, we're all still using somewhat of a personal computer. But this is going to evolve. Hundreds of new devices are coming to market all the time, and customers want a seamless way to get their information. For us, that's a bigger challenge because now we're shifting from that PC, that traditional PC market, into these other devices. This is even happening, we heard about the Google car this morning. That's based on Intel technology. I think I heard the other day a new car coming off the line has over 200 processors in it. intelligent systems, the digital signage. Just look around this hotel. Pretty much everywhere you look, there is digital signage. The telephone in your room is based on a digital technology of some sort. So it is proliferating across all different types of devices that we use day in and day out. We want to be relevant in those devices. We want to make sure the end consumer understands that the Intel is part of that solution. So what does that mean from a reseller perspective or this business-to-business category that we're talking about? I'm going to be talking about the reseller category down here that's circled. So these customers, this is actually a very stripped-down model of Intel's go-to-market strategy. I've simplified it for our conversation today. There's obviously other ways and other partners we work with, large retail, telcos, et cetera. But I really want to focus on this reseller audience and the challenge we have. These customers there's hundreds of thousands of them across the world. They either are taking Intel technology and building their own solution, or they're taking the systems that from a multinational company like the Hewlett-Packards and the Dells of the world and packaging their service or extra solutions on that and then reselling that. They're selling to maybe an end consumer, or they may be selling into small and medium businesses. So we want to be relevant with this audience. We want to have a relationship with this audience that's actually reaching those buying consumers. So how do we do that? This is challenge number 2, is how do we gain that relevance? How are we important in their world? Well, first of all, I want to tell you who these guys are, if you're wondering who I'm talking about. Our resellers are very diverse in nature. They could be a very large, what we call a local OEM, where maybe the multinational brand isn't as popular or well-known. They may be the brand leader in their country or their territory. They are the integrators I was just speaking about. So they could be the Joe's Computers down the street, perhaps in your strip mall, you've seen them. You might think of them as a repair solution provider, but these guys do more than that. In these small and medium businesses, they are the IT department. So they are the ones that are gaining a footprint of these customers and going back, and when new technologies launch, they're going back and selling these customers on new solutions, new technologies, and so forth. So they want to be the IT department for these businesses. They may be a retail storefront. If you've ever been to Asia, there are these very large PC malls that are full of retail storefronts, and these are all customers that are of ours, and they're trying to sell to their end customer. So there is a very large, diverse way these guys, or these resellers all go to market. These resellers are important to Intel for several reasons. I was just talking about the local presence they might provide. They give Intel that balance. So again, if you think about the big multinational companies in the PC market, they deal in large volume. These customers are very much niche driven. Not all of them, but a great percentage of them are. So they don't want to compete with the Dell or Hewlett-Packard on a large installation of PCs. Again, I was just giving you the example of the digital signage. We have customers that do digital signage. We have customers that make the red light cameras. Not very popular, but those are some solutions that I've seen some of our resellers build. I'll give you an example of a customer in Rancho Cucamonga, California, which I think I just like saying the city name. Linear Systems. They make a system for the Department of Defense and police organizations. This is gathering field intelligence, evidence. They figure out a way to help them catalog it and secure it so it can be shared within the different organizations. It's a very specific or purpose-driven or purpose-built solution, as we call it. They help to fill that need. So again, it gives us that breadth. They lead in transitions, and what I mean by that is when Intel launches a new technology, these customers are usually our enthusiast guys. They want to take that new technology, get it out to market really quick. So they help us drive a faster transition and ramp, if you will. And then lastly, they are that reach in the emerging markets where maybe the multinational brands are not as popular. So they are your local reseller that you go to for that information or that sell. We find emerging markets, the customers want to touch, see, look. Online purchasing is not as popular, so having that presence there is really important for us. All right, so let's get to the meat of this, and this is how we reach this audience. We call it the Intel Technology Provider Program, and this is our loyalty program for this reseller audience. Our strategy is very simple. We want to help to make these customers successful. I just explained to you why that's important to Intel. And we want to do this in a very genuine way, an authentic way. We've heard that talked about today. It is about the relationship, and that's what we try to focus on. So there is a host of benefits within the program, but I believe the 4 real key ones are the recognition they receive from us, and I'll talk about that more in just a moment. They want to be affiliated with the Intel brand and use that relationship when they're talking to their end customer. The knowledge we provide them, and I'm not just talking about simple training and things of that nature. I'm talking about knowledge about where is the industry going. Intel, you're a big corporation, share with us, help us understand what's happening out there. Don't talk to me just about your specific part of it, but share the bigger picture with us and help us to be ready for that change. So we try to provide them as much insight and along with roadmap information and things like that to help them be successful. Rewards, which is the area of the program I manage. It's a points-based reward system. It's pretty classic. It's based on engagement and transaction. What I like about the rewards benefit, it's rather new to us, which seems kind of crazy, but we spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to administer something like this. And our customers appreciate this benefit because of the fact it helps them with their business. And some examples of that is I was in Europe in April at one of our events, and I was talking to a customer, and he was telling me, I've used the rewards benefit. I was able to bring 2 more of my employees this year to this event. I've seen customers who have taken and redeemed for things where they've then given to their employees as a gift or a thank you or recognition. Or they can take it and use it as a way to thank their customers as well. So these are all ways we want to help them in their bigger picture of doing business. And then lastly is support, and I mean support in every sense of the word, not just from a technical or warranty, which we do have a industry leading in technical and warranty support or benefit. But we also assign field coverage to some of these accounts. And if they're not being covered by a field, a great percentage of them get a call or have access to a sales center. So we want them to be able to have that relationship with Intel where if they have a question or issue or concern or they want to know what's happening, they have accessibility to those individuals. The program's been around since about 1991, and it has gone through quite a bit of evolution. It started out being a very integrator-focused program, and now it's evolved to try to encompass these other types of customers who are building different types of solutions. You can see we've gone through a few name changes. We're constantly kind of struggling about the name we call the customers so they feel that relationship with Intel, but they really want to be able to use that name to extend that to their end customer, to have that affiliation with Intel. We have about 250,000 partners worldwide, 180 countries. I know this number, 250,000, seems small relative to some of the numbers I've seen here today, but it is a very comprehensive and diverse set of customers. And not only that, being in the 180 countries and having to manage 20 plus languages becomes very cumbersome. What we like to do is empower our geographies. So we have the benefits, we provide the guidelines, but they have to be able to customize it for their local markets. And that's hard to do and make sure that we're delivering consistent value and promise on the Intel brand. The recognition piece is pretty classic pyramid. This is how it breaks down. You come into the program as a registered partner. A registered partner basically gets you access to some of the content on the Intel partner website. You can opt into the newsletters. You get invited to attend some of our industry events. To get to the gold level, of course, it's based on some purchasing, but mostly it's based on you're willing to engage with us. And this is primarily taking some of the Intel training and filling out your profile. And that gets you access to the rewards benefit. That will get you access to some of our support and warranty benefits, as well as invite you to some additional industry events or Intel events. And then, of course, the platinum level, which is all those benefits amplified, and then some additional financial benefits they get at the platinum level. What we found is our platinum partners that we have, many of them have been with us for 10 plus years. So they really value the relationship. Our job is to try to get those registered partners to engage up in that gold level. And that's what we've really started to focus on the last year and a half, is how do we move those customers up in this stack and get them more engaged at that gold level. Uh-oh. Program performance. Okay, so 2 challenges we have when it comes around program performance. Obviously, our job is first and foremost to the customer, but second of all, internally. When we look again across the sales and marketing budgets and what we have to spend, I think I heard it in the Kellogg's conversation is, we're all fighting for the same dollars, basically. So in order for us to keep investing into the program, we need to show management that this is a valuable program to our customers and why. The 88% customer satisfaction comes from an Intel internal survey we do with our customers. This is predominantly based on our Platinum and Gold feedback. We also do a broader customer satisfaction against our register to see what we can be doing to pull those customers up. So this really measures us on the satisfaction of the customers that are using the program effectively today. We do benchmarking in and out of industry. We're just in the midst of wrapping one up. We find it important, again, this loyalty space and the talk of loyalty is rather new to us in this world. So what we want to do is look at best practices and also see what's happening in the industry, but we want to learn some other from outside our industry as well and pick up some maybe new things that we're not thinking or considering that might be valuable to our customer. And then we have industry recognition that we have received several industry recognitions for the program that I didn't include here. There's several across all the different geographies. But more importantly are these indicators that we measure the program success by. First of all and foremost is engagement. So are we moving customers up? Are we engaging them? How often are they engaging with us? Transition. I spoke about that earlier. This group of customers is the groups that drive the faster transition for Intel. We measure that. How fast are they transitioning? Are we ramping fast enough? Sell up. Obviously, we have customers out there that we want to make sure that if they are in we call our core space, or excuse me, our value space, that we move them into our third gen core. And how do we move them up in that stack? How do we talk to them? How do we encourage them to sell up? What is the opportunity for them? What's in it for me, of course, right, from a customer perspective? We do this through three control group analysis. We have 3 control groups we look at on a regular basis. We look at those customers in the program who are really active, those that are in a program that may not be active, and then those that aren't in the program. And I can tell you historically, the ones that are heavily engaged in the program and using the program always end up to be the best results for us. We don't see much, we always see a more positive result with those engaged than those that are not engaged. And that helps us, again, get that investment internally to keep growing and investing in the program. And then, of course, over time, we have to see the sales outgrowth. So going forward, these are some of the key challenges we're still working on. Customer experience, it is job one. We are a big corporation and we have many business groups that want to go talk to these customers. We have sales and marketing organization, within the sales and marketing organization, we have other groups that want to go talk to these customers. So we want to manage that and make sure we give them a very seamless experience and be consistent with what we're doing with them. To the moment they enter into the program, to the time that they go transact a reward. So this has been a heavy area of focus for us as well the last year or so. Simplify, we've been told, you need to simplify it. Don't give me everything, just give me what's important to me, which leads to the next one, which is the customization and personalization. If I'm not selling a server solution, quit talking to me about servers. But, if there's an opportunity, it's a fine line we walk. If there might be an opportunity, they might be interested in listening. But it's more about make it relevant on what I'm doing with you today and help me to find what's important to me or give me what's important. And to keep evolving our program offerings. As I mentioned, the compute continuum is happening. Our customers are changing. What's important to them now that wasn't so important to them yesterday? Which is really staying ahead of the changing times that are coming. And how do we do it and react more quickly so that they see that we have their best interests at hand and we're trying to help them lead and win as well. So I hope that you learned a little bit more about why this is important to Intel and how we're attacking it, and hopefully answered the question of why is Intel here. Thank you.
So one thing that I was curious if you could just elaborate on a little bit is the type of rewards that are available in the program, because I think that's particularly important in this type of B2B program, right, is that mix of rewards, because you want to make compelling rewards that don't have the sheen of bribery or something that doesn't have a clear business benefit. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, and that's a really important one because our finance, we've had to kind of educate our finance organization on this as well. So we allow them to redeem for Intel product, number one, or an Intel branded notebook or desktop system. We believe that the more that they can take, for example, if they want to go try some of the products out and not invest in buying it themselves, then this is one way they can do that and try it and demo it and sample it. Travel is a big one for us, as I mentioned. They want to take their employees or perhaps even give it away to their customers as a gift. So travel is a big one. The other more popular ones there are some gift card offerings that we do. And again, those are sometimes used as incentives or gifts for their employees or their customers as well. I'd say those are probably, classically, they're probably most 3 popular ones.
Right. Yeah, and they do have that combination of personal appeal and clear business benefit.
Yep.
Great.
Yep.
Okay, any other questions? All right, thank you very much.